Hello everyone, welcome back to take 2 of 3D reviews for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This time I saw it in 3D 4DX, so a new format. I will talk about the 4DX, but today we are just going to focus mainly on the 3D, because I know I really didn't talk about it in my previous review. As with basically all Marvel movies at this point, the 3D conversion was very clean. There weren't any issues from what I can see, and if they were very small, and it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. Like the sort of thing you really gotta go frame by frame. At this point, Marvel has basically perfected post-converting 3D movies. Really no complaints there. At that point, it's really up to how the filmmaker uses the 3D and utilizes it as part of the storytelling process. On its own, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is a very well shot movie, and as I said with my Jaws 3D review, if a movie is well shot, then inevitably it will look great in 3D. However, there really weren't any exceptional moments to think of. There are a lot of things on paper that would lend this movie to being a great 3D experience. You have a lot of underwater scenes, and you've got flying scenes, you have characters that can fly, but they really don't use that to its fullest advantage. There really isn't a lot of pop out or any pop out at all in this movie. It's very conservative in that area. You would think with the underwater stuff, with the fish, or with Namor and flying around, they do a few interesting things, or at least they try to do some things with Namor's winged feet where he's hopping around from place to place. There's a moment or two where his foot comes right up into the screen and then he hops away, but it's like that. He doesn't really come out of the screen. However, there is more to 3D than just pop out, and that is the depth. This movie does have a few scenes of a lot of depth, like the underwater stuff, the flying stuff. You really do feel how high up or how deep down these characters are. Are you going to get an experience like with Shang-Chi or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness where it feels tailor-made for 3D, or like 3D was at the forefront? No, nothing like that. And I wouldn't say this is the worst 3D of Phase 4 either. It's just kind of there. There are some interesting 3D shots, but on the whole it's decent. But I'm glad I did see it again. I really do feel that this movie could have benefited from a few more pop-out moments, but it is what it is. Just the fact that there were so many things in this movie that could have lent itself well to that. But I suspect they wanted to do more of a respectful thing. I know pop-out can be seen as very gimmicky. I understand that, and this movie is more or less a eulogy to the late Chadwick Boseman. So they probably didn't want it to be like a crazy pop-out fest like Doctor Strange or Shang-Chi was. But there it is. This movie's probably going to be in 3D for the next week or so. So if you are going to go see it, honestly, this movie is great with or without the 3D. If you don't really care, you just want to see the movie, then you won't really be missing much without the 3D. But if you're a 3D buff, I guess you could just, fill out the collection and just see it in 3D. It's not a bad 3D movie, it's just nothing really exceptional about it from my point of view. That's just my opinion. Everyone views 3D different. Everyone has their own takes on what makes a good 3D movie. And while, like I said, this movie has some deep 3D shots in it, and it does add to those specific shots in and of themselves, the overall is just kind of there to be there. It's almost like Black Widow or Spider-Man No Way Home, where the 3D was there to be there because it's a Marvel movie and it gets the 3D treatment. Let's talk about the 4DX. I will say that if you can see this movie in 4DX or even D-Box, I would recommend it. This movie uses the water spray quite a lot, which obviously a lot of it takes place underwater, but it used it more than I was expecting, as well as the moving seat. There were a few moments, particularly in the final battle, where I thought I was going to be thrown out of the seat. I mean, the seat is like really shaking you all around. It's a wild experience. Truly, the 4DX is worth it for this movie, and I don't even know if they're even showing this in 2D 4DX, so you might as well go see the 3D 4DX version. The 3D combined with the 4DX is always a unique experience. I would recommend that at least. If you want the best, most premium experience for this movie, I would say that the 4DX is definitely worth it. That's really all I have to say about it. 3D was just okay. Not terrible, nothing exceptional. The 4DX experience was also pretty good. In fact, I would say this is one of the better 4DX movies that I've seen. So there it is. Hopefully that answered your guys' questions. Hopefully that was a better wrap up of the 3D in this movie. I look forward to trying to see Strange World in 3D. It's gonna be kind of a difficult week since I gotta work all week, and technically that movie starts on the 22nd, not on next Thursday. So it's gonna be a few days before I can get around to seeing it in 3D, if I can manage to pull that off. Thank you guys for checking this video out. I'm really sorry that the 3D talk in the last one wasn't as much, but the movie itself, there was just so much to say about it that I kind of pushed it to the back. I think that goes a long way to saying how good this movie was. I still really enjoyed it even a second time around, and like I said, doesn't feel its length. Absolutely exceptional. Thank you guys for checking this out. Once again, I appreciate all the support, and I will see you all next time.